Hi, we're live. I think what I don't know is if we can tell if people joined.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Hmm?
Somebody joined.
Hey, Broken Joker. Nice to see you.
We're
Glad
so
you could
good at
join us.
this.
Yeah. Hey. Ren,
Off to
the
a
other
great
night
start.
I didn't record the whole session, so I think we're at least moving in the right direction a little bit.
It just made it, extra special.
Yeah. It just meant I got extra time to spend with Sour Patch Hero.
Right?
Hey, Frank.
Top next to live. I don't see how many people are live. It just says live.
Yeah.
Richie's telling us lies.
Yeah. Sounds. Yeah. Okay.
Hi,
Well, you just have
Kat.
to tell us. Hey, Kat. We'll give everybody just another second or two to join. Yeah. Looks like Zombie's joining us. So, yeah, we should have a good crowd tonight.
Zombie.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get started, Ren. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Yeah.
Very grateful for the time. And this, the book that we're going to talk about, Flame Spitter, is actually a book that I read way before con, right? So I didn't have to cram another book in this week. So thank you.
Like I said, thank you for asking me to be on the show. I'm always happy to come on and chat. Gives me warm and fuzzies to know somebody's read my books and enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me just introduce everybody. If you haven't met Ren, tonight I'm talking to Ren, and we're going to talk about Flame Spitter. It came out last year, and I've read a few of Ren's books. I've read some of their Dungeon Core Online series, and after watching one of Richie's podcast episodes, and I put it together that she'd written Flame Spitter as well. And Flame Spitter Spitter is one of my favorite lit RPGs from last year. I've listened to it and read it. The narration is led by Ryan Reed and the Sound Booth Theater crew, and it's top notch.
Brian joined in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's good. That's okay. Yeah.
I can't contain my excitement.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't have to hold it in. But this book is Wild West themed cultivation lit RPG. If you were like, what? I was too when Ryan pitched it to me, but I was curious, so I picked it up and listened, and it's great. I feel like I'm like back on the couch with my dad on Sunday afternoon watching a Western, except it's way more exciting because it's got that cultivation lit RPG elements to it that just, chef's kiss. So thank you. So for the book, for those of you who haven't read it, our main character is a young gun named Jones. He's an orphan raised by a U.S. Marshal named Randall. And he's out seeking revenge for the death of his mentor, following any lead or rumor he can find to track down the men responsible. It goes from there. I'm not going to give too much away, but we're just going to get in and talk about it. Yeah.
Good. I was also wanted to give a shout out to, to everybody that's joining in chat. I'm seeing so many people joining in, a lot of familiar faces. But I did want to give a special shout out to Taryn, who just popped in after what seems to be a wild time. He's always super busy. But fun fact, Taryn is actually the individual who gave me a shot at becoming a professional author. So without him, I wouldn't be here at all. So special guest that I wanted to give a shout out to in chat just there.
Yeah, special kudos to Taryn. Yeah, thank you. All right, so Ren, I know you published under the pen names Jonathan Smith and Galax. Did I say that right? Glyax, sorry. How would you like to be addressed today and like at the con? Like what's your preference on names?
Ren's totally fine. I joked that I was going to just run around and keep Jonathan Smith as like a pen name and try to be like all incognito. And that lasted for all of about a week because I had a book release coming up, and it was kind of a pain in the ass to try and use just my author profile to interact with all of the groups and comments when I was seeing them on my main feed. And then same thing, like people were tagging me in the comments, but as me and not my author profile. So I was like, well, I have immediately failed at the pen name game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's out the window. So Rin's totally fine. My badge at Lit RPG Con, as far as I understand, is going to have like Rin, aka Jonathan Smith, so people can like piece it together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, the people that give you the advice of like pen name per genre and all of the rest obviously haven't had to manage like 4 social medias. It's just, yeah, it's a pain. Yeah.
Gone are the days of like complete author anonymity
Yeah, no,
from the
not even.
trad pub days. Yeah, we don't get those anymore.
No. Well, you've been known for your dungeon core novels, and from what I could tell, most of your fiction up until Flamespitter was more dungeon core that I could find. What made you switch to cultivate to like a cultivator sort of point of view for this new series?
ADHD. So essentially, it's not that I got bored. Like I really enjoy writing dungeon core novels, but I really like to, when it comes to writing in general, I like to write multiple stories at once, and I like to kind of like, to keep myself from burning out, I like to write different types of stories at the same time. That way, like depending on my mood, depending on how my mind is that day, like if I want to write something goofy, I have a goofy story to write. If I want to write something serious, I have a serious story to write. And so I had my dungeon core novels. I was putting those out. I really love those. But on the same time, on the side, I've always been writing other things. So like Resonance is my monster taming lit RPG. That one I was writing on the side, and that one published right alongside Flamespitter, essentially. And then Flamespitter was a concept that I come up with. Like I loved Wild West. I loved the aesthetics. I loved the idea of gunslinging. I was a big fan of Outlaw Star, the anime, growing up. And so it was just one of those ideas that was burning in the back of my mind. And eventually I kind of hit that point where I was like, I need to make this a reality.
Mhm.
And so I did that. Stephen Landry in chat actually has a funny story from me and telling him all about Flamespitter a couple of years ago before it even published, because I was just that excited about it at
Yeah.
DragonCon.
Well, one of the questions from the chat is, which story do you consider your more serious story or your primary focus?
For serious writing, it's definitely been like Flamespitter, just because it is a darker setting. The characters are more real in a sense. It's not a world filled with comedic jokes thrown in. It's not a world in which I throw in a bunch of pop culture, which I know people have gotten used to seeing from me. So it's not comedy. It's darker. It's grittier. The stakes are real. There's just this roughness to it. And so it's a different mindset than if I'm writing something that's just full of slapstick comedy, and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, let's dive into it a little bit more. I mentioned it earlier in the intro that I grew up, watching like black and white westerns with my dad on Sunday afternoon. I love the idea of this, and I love that lit RPG can be applied to, 16th century knights. Foreshadowing here in my next interview, right? It can be applied to, like some modern kid off the street getting sucked into a world, and here we've got, a western, right, with a
Right.
gunslinger, right? I love how you executed the community and like the setting with the young hero bringing down, like going after the bandit band. It's very reminiscent of the black and white westerns. What inspired you to go in this direction? I know you mentioned an anime in there.
Yeah. So one of the big inspirations was an anime called Outlaw Star. It's essentially a space western. So you've got spaceships that are completely ridiculous. You've got all sorts of different planets and species and everything, but at the same time, like the main character is running around with essentially a single, like a breech loading pistol that he loads magic bullets into. And each bullet has like a different spell that's inscribed onto it. So I always thought that concept was really fun. And then way back in the day, I used to do a writing stream called Books and Bourbon, in which I would take prompts from viewers and write short stories about them, like little flash fiction pieces live, while drinking bourbon. And somebody had on that like magical western, and so I wrote this like really fast paced just saloon scene, with a gunslinger getting like ambushed by some hotheads and having to deal with them. And the moment I wrote that scene, like something just felt right. And I just, from that moment on, it was like always in the back of my head, and it was slowly growing and evolving. And like the world was taking place and shaping. Because I've always loved, I love watching old school Westerns. I love like everything steampunk, which, you know, is essentially gets you that gritty Western vibe, but with technology. And so the Western cultivation was just like, hey, instead of steam powered everything, let's throw a cultivation in there. Let's add magic in there, but restrict the system in, you know, a way that is more authentic to still giving that kind of like weird West steampunk vibe.
Yeah.
Because I also love shows like Firefly and everything, and like, who doesn't?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's great. It really works here from a lit RPG perspective, and I'm hoping this, you know, encourages like a bunch of other Western lit RPGs to get written, right? Like, I mean, this is, you know, one of the first. I'm not aware of any other Western lit RPGs, so if you know of one, put it in the chat for me so I can read it later. But
Cowboy Necromancer
okay,
by
yeah,
Harmon Cooper is one of the big ones that I know of. I think it's more Weird West than just pure Western, but that is the one that I hear thrown around the most. But when it comes to Wild West cultivation, yeah, I think Flamespitter is unique in that, which is great, but at the same time has also been a living nightmare when it comes to trying to market it.
Yeah.
Because when everybody wants cultivation, they don't want, you know, a Western setting.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Your Western readers are probably not looking for, you know, spell slinging gunfights, right? And your lit RPG readers maybe are not looking for the Western setting, but there seems to be some audience here. Absolutely. Looks like we've got a couple suggestions. It looks like Books and Bourbon was a big hit. a few mentions, a few fans apparently followed you in Books and Bourbon. Is that something that you do anymore, or have you stepped away from that sort of live stream?
I haven't done it in a while. It was simpler times back then when I was doing it. Life was simpler. There was a lot less going on. So it is something that I've like considered bringing back. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot of energy to, you know, put on a stream for 3 to 4 hours every week at a time and work through so many stories. And as much as I loved it, it was just, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I think part of that was back when I was doing Books and Bourbon, like I was still kind of like a fledgling author, so I didn't have as much on my plate. So it didn't take as much mental energy as it does now, where I'm spending so much time writing to then be like, oh, well, now I've got a stream writing as well on top of my day job of writing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, as a fellow writer, that sounds like a living nightmare. To live stream a story changing on the fly. I mean, I can see where you could come up with some amazing work there, but I imagine it was a lot of energy, a lot of emotional energy to pull that off every week.
The bourbon was definitely a crutch, and that's where you see those other mentions about succubus and such. Was the viewers would definitely take advantage of the author getting drunk.
Lead you down many roads, huh?
Yeah. There were many roads, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get back to Flamespitter. Jones is the main character, right? And he's got a more diverse skill set. I don't want to give too much away for those who haven't read it yet, right? But he's got a more diverse skill set compared to other cultivators. I enjoyed how you added that cultivation magic elements in the skill execution. Can you walk us through a couple powers a gunslinger might have in your world to give everybody kind of that taste of how this might work?
Right. So essentially, in the world of Flamespitter, you have gunslingers. Essentially, you know, all the Americans. We'll say, like, you know, it's been 1775. You've got the colonies breaking away from England. So all of those Americans, all have they're all born with mana, and they're all born with a core within them that usually has an affinity for one of 4 different elements. And so everybody has that. gunslingers in particular within Flamespitter are usually people who have enough mana that they're able to craft bullets on the fly. And based off the mana type that they have, they can craft different types of bullets that go into their revolvers, rifles, shotguns, you name it. So some of the basic rounds, you've got piercers, which are a wind-based round that they fly really fast and they have a little more like spin to them, so they're able to pierce through the body. Pretty simple. So they're quick rounds used to kind of like gun down a man. Then they also have like the air curtain shot, which creates a kind of like shield of air mana in front of them that can block incoming shots. Whereas water, you have shots that are going to actually on impact create like frost, like ice around the individual. So they're used for trapping people, weighing them down, slowing them, incapacitating them. Earth rounds, you've got solid ones that can punch through like steel. You can also spray them with different rock shards. One of the shots that gets mentioned is actually like shooting the ground with a rock shot that will actually create like a pillar of earth to spring forth. Yeah. So yeah, the gunslingers, based off their affinity and the amount of mana they have, and essentially like what rank their core is, they're able to refine that mana into different types of bullets based off of those elements, and load them into their pistols or rifles or such to, shoot on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I mean it gets like more and more epic from there, right? Yeah. It again, don't want to give too much away, but the powers just exponentially kind of explode from there, which is really cool to see. All right, so one of the villains of the book is Pick'em. It's a pretty ugly person. Was there specific lore that you were drawing from to create Pick'em? Is he a villain in real life, or what's the inspiration there?
I don't think he was a villain in real life in so much as I drew inspiration from him of like all of the like just kind of grungy, good for nothing outlaws that you would see in a lot of the old black and white westerns. Like this guy is just a vile, like cruel, murderous man. There's not much. Yeah. There's not much to him when it comes to like his goals or aspirations. Like he just wants to kill people, rob, steal, and plunder, and make off with the goods. So I felt like for book one, he made the most sense to be kind of like the outlaw of book one, because essentially each book is an outlaw of the week. Because as you said, he's hunting down the gang that wronged him. So each book is a different outlaw that he's going to be chasing down. And so Pick'em felt like the best choice because it was like, I'd say almost like the shallowest character. Like he's just this base bad guy. Everybody understands, the base low life, no good guy that may have a little more power than he should, and he uses it to just cause problems. There aren't any too many like complexities to him. Complexities. He's out for no good, and he was a good first taste of seeing, what Jones is capable of.
Yeah, I would say book one is really a showcase of Jones for the most part, and you get a real sense of like where he's at and the world, and yeah, Pick'em's pretty despicable, so it's easy to hate him.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to open it up to the floor for questions. So make sure you start, if you've got a question, put it in the live chat. I've got one more. Yeah, we'll go to that one first. So what sort of story do you want to do next? Let's say, I know we're going to talk about sequels and some more in Flamespitter, but like outside of Flamespitter and that series, the Elemental Gunslinger, what are you doing?
Currently I'm working on the sequel to Dead Exorcists book one, which was Resonance. So I'm currently working on the sequel to that. Down the line, I've mentioned it on podcasts before. Like I want to do a standalone in my Bone Dungeon world that follows the the Dungeon of Ashes, from its rise to fall. I eventually do want to get back to the Digging Around series. I want to finish the Aced duology. I have a goofy isekai that I want to write based off of the Aced world, that I've partially brainstormed and joked about with Jeff Hayes. So
yeah,
I've got plenty of stories that I want to write. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And keeping bills paid.
So from what you said earlier, you're just going to work on those 4 stories at the same time, right? Just
No, I'm currently working on multiple things already. So
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, let's talk about the sequel to Flame Spitter. When can we expect to see it? I know it's I think it's a little early still in the process for you, but do you
it's
have
actually done.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have a series length in mind too? Like, how long do you think the series itself is going to be?
So the Elemental Gunslinger series is going to be 5 books, which is actually, if you have a physical copy of it and you look on the spine, that's why there's a revolver chamber with 5 bullet holes, like bolt rounds.
It's
And so
nice.
each book is loaded with like an extra round to show which book it is in the series. So the
Love
final
that
book will be
detail.
fully loaded.
Nice.
So yeah, it's going to be 5 books in total. The second book is completely done. It is currently with the copy editor and has been for about 2 weeks. So I should be getting it back here very soon. I think somebody in chat might have the actual details on that.
Okay.
Cough, cough, hint, hint. But once that's done, once I get the copy edits done, it's usually quick and easy to go through those. And then it will be off to Ryan for narrating.
Are you going to launch the physical and the narration at the same time?
Yeah, we always do a dual. Well, we always do simultaneous release. So it'll be up to Ryan to hurry things along. Although rumor has it Ryan is going to be quite busy next week.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Well, I wonder where he'll be.
I know, right? I wonder.
Right?
I wonder what's going to be keeping him from.
I think we'll have to give him the good old elbow and ask him when the sequel's coming out. So
guilt him into it.
Right. That's right. So next week we've got Lit RPG Con, right? Richie. Yeah, what are you doing next week, Richie?
Right? Like weird. What are most of us going to be doing next week? Right? Drinking. I mean,
possibly. Yeah. Yeah. So, got any questions for Ren or myself? Put it in the chat. While I'm waiting for those questions, I do want to ask. Ren, you're obviously going to be at Lit RPG Con. Where are we going to find you at the con? Are you going to be gaming? Are you going to be on panels? Like, what's the? We can talk about the panels now that they're
right. Yeah, we can.
Right?
Well, I'm going to be at the con the whole weekend. Actually, I fly in on Wednesday, so I'll be at the hotel Wednesday night through Monday morning. Con starts Friday. I think obligation-wise, I'm on a panel on Saturday. That regard is about diversity within Lit RPG, and you and I are on that panel together, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And then Sunday, I'm on a panel about cultivation novels. I want to say that one's around 3 p.m. on Sunday. Don't quote me on that because I'm bad at math.
Math clocks.
Right. And then I am going to be in the gaming hall. There are 2 events in the gaming hall, I think, on Friday, one on Friday, one on Saturday, where there is going to be the chance to game with me. Outside of that, I will be bringing some of my Commander decks. So there's a good chance I'll be posted up playing Commander games during some downtime.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm pretty easy to spot.
Well, I call at least one Commander game with you. I've been learning on the. I'm a newbie, so you have to be nice. But
I'm always nice.
Play some Magic together. Yeah, I've heard you're an absolute terror at Magic, as from like very good at it. Is the rumor?
Only occasionally.
Do you? I don't know. I don't know if I can answer this question. I have not heard about any streaming of the panels yet, so I'm not sure that's something that's being planned.
I believe Geneva said that they won't be streaming the panels. They will do like highlight reels from some like bits and pieces, but the panels will not be live streamed. Yeah. But the podcasters will be doing podcast things, obviously, and there will be photos taken of the con as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to use that to call out Chat Stats. Thank you, Richie and company, for allowing us to use your streaming platform. This is obviously a little bit better place than the Discord monstrosity that we had Sunday night, so appreciate that. All right, Amanda wants to know, do you have a favorite game that you are looking forward to play at con? Or favorite game in general?
I mean, in general, Magic's definitely the game that I play the most. Super hyped for the new Digimon story game that comes out later this year. Because I'm a big Digimon and Pokemon and like Persona nerd. So we've got
Love
a
it.
new Digimon story coming out in like November that I am super hyped for and will probably lose a lot of sleep over. Baldur's Gate 3 was obviously a lot of fun. There's a new Heroes of Might and Magic game that was supposed to be releasing this year, but the beta got delayed, so I don't know if it will come out or not. But that one I'm super hyped for. Hades 2, and also looking forward to Slay the Spire 2, which should be releasing this year as well.
Yeah. That's quite so. I think what I'm hearing is if we want you to write more, we got to stop the gaming industry from putting out more games.
They are research.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yes, I do that too. It's very convenient. Yeah. Let's see. We've got some more questions here. Baldur's Gate 3 game stream.
We missed Brian's thing a little up about the liquor, because he mentioned the turkey dew.
Oh yeah, the turkey dew. What's on the menu? I will not be drinking turkey dew. That sounds nope.
Turkey dew is amazing. You don't understand. Like everybody was like, "What is that?" And then they try it and they're like, "Oh my god." Because like the turkey dew was actually like the unofficial drink of bourbon conventions. Because Mountain Dew was actually created to be mixed with bourbon.
Was it?
Yeah, it's Mountain Dew, moonshine. You get it? You mix them together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, for some reason it like is this delicious drink. So you mix Mountain Dew with Wild Turkey 101, and the turkey dew is greatness. As for Lit RPG Con, there's something rumor about there being 15 gallons of liquor potentially being concocted. Yeah.
I mean, authors tend to be not that extroverted, like introverted, shy souls. So maybe it takes that much liquor to get us all to talk at the convention on panels and such. And we need more cosplayers to distract us.
Right, but everybody must drink responsibly. Obviously, we're going to be at Elevation, so
yeah, absolutely. What's nice is that hopefully we're all pretty like located very close to the convention hall. It's not too big. Yeah,
and also like I don't give liquor to people that are like too wasted. Drink responsibly. If you come up sloshed, you don't get liquor from me.
Agreed. Yeah.
4.5 liters is 1 gallon. So do the quick math. It's like what, 50 liters, 60 liters? I want to say closer to 60 liters.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
For those lucky enough to live across the pond.
So, talking about the convention, if you had somebody, what cosplay from your books would you just be blown away by if somebody came dressed as?
I think, a Flashfire cosplay from Dungeon Crawl Online would be super spiffy, just because I love the Necromancer class from Diablo 2, and that's what I based it off of. But honestly, like Dungeon Crawl Online has like a ton of characters that could be like cosplayed. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And hilarious. But because of that, I don't know if they'd be really viable cosplays. Whereas like, doing Mr. Jones from Flamespitter, or the Marshal or Clint would be really cool to see.
That would be pretty cool.
The hotel has tennis courts at it. So like you don't understand. I was tempted to bring my tennis gear.
Yeah, you still could. You just need somebody to, play with.
Yeah, but I'm flying, and that's, rackets are a pain in the ass to fly with.
Do they make you check them? Is that the
you have to check them.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I'm not a tennis. I'm a fencer. So if anybody wants to do a sword fight, I'm in. But yeah, Geneva might frown on that. So, yeah. Okay, so the next question I've got for you is, you've been writing. How long have you been writing and publishing your stuff? What I looked online, I thought it was about 6 years, but has it been longer than that?
I signed with Portal in 2018. So I started writing professionally in 2018. So that's 7 years roughly. But I've been writing for longer. Like I said, I mentioned Taryn earlier in the chat. So he and I actually got connected probably closer to 2015 or 2016. He had been kind enough to give me some advice on writing because I was writing on Wattpad at the time, writing a young adult novel. And so he and I stayed in touch while I was doing that. And so I was writing, before then. And then even before that, I'd always been kind of like writing. Reading was my biggest escape when I was growing up. And so I always had a passion for writing stories.
Yeah. I love you talked about Taryn and, like 10 years ago, you're maybe this kind of young writer, not maybe young in life, but like young writer, right? And I hear the story over. It's like sometimes it just takes one person to reach out and be like, hey, I really like what you do. I think it's cool, and give you feedback or just encouragement or whatever. It can really make a difference for people, whether it's on Royal Road or Wattpad or,
I wouldn't call him a fan. He's a best-selling author. Like I was the fan to him.
Fair, yeah.
Like he's much more successful than I am. Like his
fair. I
fangirled over him.
He could still be a fan of yours, even if you are fangirling over him.
Fair.
Right? Yeah. But I just, don't. People have a lot of power to really boost writers up in the world and give them that kind of encouragement that they need to like get out there and publish something and put it out in the world. So don't underestimate that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So 6 to 10 to whole life you've been writing, right? Was there a specific, you talk about Taryn, but what did Taryn do, or what experience there inspired you to really just go for it?
He messaged me and said, hey, I think your writing would work in this genre.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not I'm kind of dense, and I have imposter syndrome like none other. So yeah, there's no way in hell I would have thrown myself out there without somebody literally coming along and being like, hey, write.
Yeah.
So the fact that he had like believed in me, and like I said, I respected him so much as an author and I loved his works. And so when he was like, hey, I really like your writing, I think you'd be good at doing this, I was like, really?
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Next question. What should Pop put on his TBR after con as a top pick from you?
I feel like Flamespitter was going to be my first recommendation for Pop, just for boomer shenanigans.
Yeah.
However, considering Pop throwing around all of the Monty Python call outs the other day in chat, Dungeon Core Online might be up his alley.
There is quite a bit of Monty Python in Dungeon Core Online. Yeah. Okay, so there's your two recommendations: Pop, Flamespitter, and Dungeon Core Online Book 1. Both need to go on your TBR. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat. This is your last moment to get in any questions. Let's see. I don't want to know what's in your TSA. What TSA is going to say about your bag, Jay. Yeah, and it looks like Amanda might be up for a game of tennis. I was expecting the Boomers war cry as well, but maybe he couldn't figure out YouTube. Sorry, Pop. Nothing but love. You're listening. Okay, so Ren, what's the best social media? Where do we find you online? Where do we find Flamespitter and Dungeon Core Online? And where are you actively writing right now?
All of my books are, as always, available on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited eBooks, Audible, all that goodness. I have my own Discord, which I believe is linked in the Lit RPG Con Discord area. I have a Patreon that I write and post advanced chapters to. Occasionally I run stories on Royal Road. I have a grimdark novel on there that's on hiatus at the moment. And then Facebook, I'm usually active in the groups, but it's my personal account, so don't send me friend requests because I get spammed with those.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Do you have like a free version of Patreon? You know, like do you have if somebody just wanted to follow you to get like the latest book release and stuff, is that available?
Yeah. You can follow the Patreon for free, and I'll post like book release info on that. Otherwise, yeah, $5 tier gets access to like 5 chapters in advance. $10 tier gets access to 10 chapters and notes and all other random shenanigans. But if you hang out on the Patreon for free, which is what most of the people do, it just gives you the updates occasionally on like when I have a book releasing or when I'm doing cover reveals and all of that.
Yeah. At least some of the good stuff, right?
Right.
So, well, thanks for joining. Any last thoughts that you want to leave with everybody?
I'm super excited for Lit RPG Con next week, and I hope to see everybody there.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And I'm sure even if you are not going, you know, we might not be streaming Lit RPG Con, but there'll be pictures and shenanigans, and all of it will probably make it online.
Hopefully, no embarrassing photos.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So on that one, I'll hop in here really quickly so that way I can get this. So there will be no streaming of any of the panels like fully. It'll like we might get clips or something like, you know, a good funny moment or something along those lines, but we won't be doing any like live streams or anything like that. Now pictures on the other hand, if there's any embarrassing pictures, oh yeah, we're getting them. If Jeff shows off his donut tattoo, yeah, we're getting that.
Oh my gosh, that tattoo.
Yeah.
So but Stats and a few other podcasters will be there to do interviews with authors, narrators, fans alike, and it's going to be a good time. So I just wanted to pop in and give clarification for that. Since
I appreciate
it was asked about earlier.
I feel like Kat is planning evil things now in chat.
Kat is always planning evil things, especially because I have to wear a pink sweater. So
yes, it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm packing.
Dun, dun, dun. I am lucky enough to be close enough to make a drive. So I don't have to be too choosy about packing, thankfully.
That's the joy of like Dragon Con for me. I can just drive.
Yeah, I have to fly for Dragon Con. So we are currently on the opposite sides of the US. So
right. Brian, you'll see plenty of me next week.
Yeah. So Brian, are you coming to Dragon Con, but to
I'm gonna sit down here at the bottom now, just in spite of Brian. So
yeah, Brian is totally gonna be there. He's awesome. He's a big guy on campus.
Yeah.
And rumor is he likes to try to drink people under tables because he's terrible.
Or kill them with fire.
Yeah. No. Both of those sound like
Fuego.
losing propositions, right? Yeah. I actually am. I'm actually a foilist. I'm a foilist, but I have fenced up a. So I fenced saber too. I blew out a knee fencing saber, so I have vowed never to fence saber if I can help it. But yeah. No, Brian. Do you still fence? Are you an active fencer? Yeah, foiled again. Absolutely. Everybody always comes up with FA because it's the crossword puzzle weapon, and it's like, no.
I feel like foiled again is the most used pun for fencing.
No, I mean, there's all the body cord, like I'm going to plug you in, or can I plug, yeah, there's a lot of puns in fencing.
Those are more like innuendos, not so much the pun.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I've taken a hiatus from fencing for a couple of years now, so I that's yeah. It's funny because you would think that learning how to fence would help me with fight scenes, and it has the exact opposite. It's like only hindered my ability to write a fight scene. So
oh my god, I pulled my wife into my office a couple months ago because I was like, I need to play out this fight in the sequel to Flamespitter. And so like I was like, hold this sword type thing here, and I'm gonna hold this sword type thing here, and I just need you to like. So she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, shh, it's for my book.
Yeah, yeah. I've had my spouse like pose with that axe behind you, that one a couple times. Like, all right, now if you held it like this, and we may or may not have used it on a watermelon or two. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, any other questions we've got? Otherwise, we'll let you be. Tomorrow we've got a show with Jay, talking about steel foundations. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And
My fellow blacksmith.
yeah, I'm excited to talk about that. Why are we both absolute gems? I don't know. Can you, Ren, you want to take that question?
I'm an opal. I'm soft and fragile.
Yeah, that doesn't help. I don't know what I am. Thanks for joining, Brian. Appreciate it. All right, everybody. If you hang with me tomorrow, like I said, we'll take on Steel Foundations. I think there might be a guest appearance by the indomitable Hannah, which should be fun. And yeah, it's going to be grand. So thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.